The boy. Oh, I really didn't mean to smash that hard. We alright? Okay, let's try that again. The boys are back in town. And don't worry, I just had a month off. Like, I went on holiday. I'm all fine. It's not like last time. Also, in the space of that month, there's a lot more of you now. So, hi, welcome to hell. So, theme park enthusiasts are a stubborn bunch. And if you don't believe me, just spend one day on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, @Calvicus33, thank you very much. However, since the dinosaurs, there's been discussions of what the best UK theme park is, with Alton Towers usually being at the top, and then some sort of combination of Blackpool Pleasure Beach and Thorpe Park in the second and third positions. Why did my hand go like, why did I... But I wanted to test something. Does where you're from affect your opinions on theme parks in the UK? Now, I actually think that objectively, Blackpool Pleasure Beach and Thorpe Park are quite even on standards. Both have some great parts, both have some bits to improve, both have insufferable fan bases full of either 12-year-old Fortnite squeakers who need to revise for their sats, or Barry63 from Fleetwood. But Thorpe's next door, and I've got to spend a whole weekend and a week's wage to get to Blackpool, so I prefer Thorpe. But I wanted to see if this is a science and where the love for each theme park comes from. So I asked you guys where you are from to rank Towers, Blackpool and Thorpe in order from best to worst, and also what your favourite coaster in the UK is, to try and see if there's any sort of patterns. Now, this got very popular very quickly, like 475 responses in about 2 days. Popular, which means 475 of you need to go outside, including myself. But whenever things like that get popular, people will always try and spoil it. So in the space of about 15 minutes, I got 70 responses saying either Rita or Hero, which you do realize that I was gonna always go through these answers anyway, so I've just taken them out. Sorry if like some of them were legitimate answers. I've kept a couple of them in, but like it was pretty obvious that 90% of these weren't real. By the way, you realize that this submitted your email to me, right? So like I can see who submitted all these answers, and I think like if you annoy me on Twitter one more time, I'm just gonna post your email and people can send whatever they want to it. So that's a bit of blackmail. Enjoy. When I collected all of your results, I split them into 10 regions seen here, with Greater London then joining the southeast. I just couldn't be asked to change the graphic that I found online. So before this experiment started, I predicted that if you're from the northwest, you're going to majorly prefer Blackpool. If you're from the southeast, you're going to majorly prefer Thorpe. So let's start with neither of those. Let's go southwest. So the southwest starts with Towers being the most favoured park, and that's going to be a bit of a trend going forwards. And Thorpe being quite clear of Blackpool, which is understandable since the southwest is closer to Thorpe than it is to the northwest in Blackpool. As for favourite coaster, I did allow defunct and non-operating coasters to be allowed in this vote, so Nemesis gets the most votes out of 32 from this vote. I said vote way too many times there, that was really poor English. The Smiler and Icon also got a lot of votes, and also Rita, Galactica and Grand National got #1 picks, which... suit yourself. Southeast, the home of Thorpe Park and also like 3 other major theme parks. So this might be a bit weird, but let's see how it goes. I'm going to put a spoiler out there now that Towers won every single one of these votes. So we're just looking at Thorpe versus Blackpool here. As expected, Thorpe Park won out in the southeast with a slightly bigger margin than in the southwest, with Thorpe being closer to Towers' score at #1 than Blackpool's at #3. The Smiler was the southeast's favourite ride by 1 vote from Nemesis, but stuff like Stealth and Saw also got a lot more votes this time, kind of matching Icon, which was pretty consistently top 3, so it shows a little more regional bias. Wales! You were weird. So this is the first instance where Blackpool beat Thorpe in this ranking, which makes a little bit more sense considering that North Wales is quite close to Blackpool generally. So far, so according to Agenda. Your coaster opinions. So there were only 8 votes from Wales, which I'm pretty sure is everyone in Wales with access to a working computer or like literacy skills. Okay, so favourite coasters, we've got Speed, okay, Green Dragon, great, helps the local bias. Colossus? Huh? West Midlands in this graph is the home of Alton Towers, which it isn't surprising to see Alton Towers on top once again. Thorpe beats Blackpool by a considerable margin here, which was surprising to me considering that it's kind of the midpoint between the southeast and the northwest. As for coasters, 43 votes here. Nemesis and Smiler take 10 and 9 votes respectively. Icon got 6 votes and 5 votes went to the Swarm, which... what year is this? Is this 2012 again? Other picks for top coaster include The Walking Dead The Ride, hi Jeff, and Sick, which, no, it's not. No, just you can stop lying to yourself. It's not healthy. Just no. East Midlands, home to such beauties as Fancy Island and Sleaford mods. Blackpool get a bit closer to Thorpe without overtaking them in this one, and I'm hoping to see a trend that as we move further north, Blackpool start to overtake Thorpe. So the fact that that's happening is quite good for my bias. As for coasters, a couple more Blackpool rides are entering the conversation here, with Icon, Big One and Grand National all making an appearance. But Nemesis is still winning, with Wicker as the number 2. And the local bias does kick in, with both Odyssey and Millennium both receiving 1 vote, which are the most Brexit coasters you could vote for your number 1. You know when I said that we were going to move further north? Yeah, I lied. We're going to east of England. I'm not actually too sure what happens in this part of the country, other than Delia Smith gets very drunk, so this will be fun. Closer to Thorpe means that Thorpe runs away from Blackpool yet again in this one. And the coasters are all pretty run of the mill as well, with Nemesis winning again, Smiler, Icon, Stealth all there. So, bit of a boring result really. Do better. Northwest. Time to get spicy. Blackpool does beat Thorpe here, but nowhere near as badly as I thought, with only 9 points between them. It does still support my theory, but I am starting to get a little bit worried about this whole thing of them being equal. For coasters, a surprisingly big majority for Nemesis here, getting 13 of the votes, and Icon only getting 7 out of 40. Very few votes for any Thorpe coasters here, as expected, and there is 1 vote for the Big One out of either pity or delusion. Yorkshire and the HUMB. An area of the land I kind of forgot about, sorry. You lot broke my trend, so you're not my friend anymore. Thorpe beats Blackpool here, but by very fine margins. But considering how much closer Yorkshire and the Humber is to Blackpool than Thorpe, it doesn't bode well for my story. However, in terms of coasters, it kind of does paint a narrative. Icon tops the pile here, followed by Nemesis and the Swarm again. What is wrong with you? Sick also gets 2 votes for the number 1 coaster here. Seek help. Northeast, thank you to all of you for participating in this experiment. All 3 of you. Blackpool beats Thorpe by a small margin here, but I want to talk about your coaster opinions. So, your top coasters. There's only 3 of them. Smiler? Yep. Swarm? What? And Galactica? What? I'm not one to judge. That's an absolute lie. I am one to judge. Galactica? Out of all of the pieces of machinery, Galactica. Galactica. Scotland, hello, how are you? The Scottish are notoriously fans of Blackpool, so it's no surprise to see Blackpool beating Thorpe in this one. It's quite the drive down to Surrey. The coaster opinions have some wild curveballs here. Nemesis wins from the Smiler, which is pretty run-of-the-mill. However, there's other number 1s like 13, Inferno, and Vampire. I'm just really confused. Okay, so after all of that data, what have we actually learned? So if you look at the total UK graph, it looks like Thorpe Park has more votes than Blackpool, so it's more preferred. However, I got more votes from the southeast than anywhere, so it'd be more biased towards Thorpe Park. So I then had to break it down into those 10 areas and then kind of do head-to-heads between Thorpe Park and Blackpool to see who would win, which comes out with Thorpe Park with 6 wins and Blackpool with 4 wins, which makes it look a little bit closer than the graph might suggest. But from looking at the regions, it really does look like regional bias is alive and well, especially in the coaster opinions. In the southeast, you had a lot more votes for the Thorpe Park rides. In the northwest, you had a lot more votes for the Blackpool rides. In the East Midlands, you had votes for Fancy Island rides. West Mids, there was a lot more on Towers. So everyone kind of chose their local park. Towers is by far the favourite park in the UK, but it really does look like, depending on where you grew up, you're going to prefer your local over the one that's halfway across the country. Anyway, that's the end of this little experiment. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy this video, then please subscribe, and sharing it with your mates would be much appreciated. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is here at CalVickers33. I mainly don't tweet about theme parks, but you can follow me there anyway. But yeah, that's about it. I've been Cal. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon.